The movie begins with a scene where a man is standing and looking down at the city. He presses a remote and says, "Begin." Then we see David serving beans to himself and his new alien friend, Cameron. David jokes that they should be grateful for the beans because they're equivalent to a juicy steak. As they chat about mundane things like the lack of interesting TV shows and news, they notice people moving in the same direction. David explains that everyone is heading south because they believe it's safer or less likely to be attacked. He also shares with Cameron how he can tell they're approaching by the increasing sound of screaming. In the next scene, David starts to recall his previous conversation in an elevator about the attack that originated in London. However, here it's more than just an attack, it's an outbreak. The other man in the elevator reacts strangely, and the elevator's lights flicker. Suddenly, he speaks in a robotic voice and violently attacks the man standing in front of him, throwing him out of the window. The man lands on the floor, motionless. Upon witnessing the horrifying scene, David and the woman accompanying him swiftly escape by closing the elevator doors. David immediately contacts his girlfriend, Sarah, who informs him that the outbreak has spread beyond Washington and now also affects New York. She reveals that the chaos is unfolding everywhere. Sarah describes her current location as her office terrace, where she observes yet another outbreak just 2 blocks away. Concerned for Sarah's safety, David urges her to stay put and wait for him there. However, he realizes that his phone's signal is now weak and unreliable. Suddenly, a man resembling the previous attacker confronts him and commands him to leave. Undeterred, David decides to drive away, but the persistent man grabs onto the car window and attempts to force him out. With great determination, David manages to break free, successfully evading the man's grasp. In a crucial moment, David notices the man conjuring an explosive ball, using his superpowers to launch an attack. Thankfully, David narrowly escapes its impact, relying on a stroke of luck. Meanwhile, Cameron remains at home, observing the peculiar destruction unfolding outside his window. Curiosity getting the better of him, he ventures out to gain a clearer view. As he gazes down at the city, an airplane suddenly approaches him with malicious intent. Startled, Cameron locks eyes with the aircraft just moments before it collides with a nearby building, causing a devastating impact. Miraculously, he survives the ordeal and continues his journey towards Sarah, determined to reach her. On a separate path, Ellen is also driving home while attempting to contact her son Cameron. Meanwhile, David reunites with his girlfriend and urgently advises her to leave the area without delay. Ellen eventually locates her son and directs his attention to the sky, instructing him to focus as they remain concealed. Returning to the present moment, we discover that the Earth is under assault by aliens who have somehow taken on the appearance of humans. These extraterrestrial beings are launching attacks on humans using explosive abilities they possess within the palms of their hands. Some humans have been bestowed with these same powers by the aliens, who control them and utilize their assistance. David reveals his plan to locate Sarah and Cameron's mother. However, their presence is unexpectedly exposed, prompting them to hastily attempt an escape. Upon stepping outside, they encounter an alien individual from the IO, Infiltration Operations team. In a fleeting moment of concealment, Cameron's hand is accidentally cut, causing his blood to stain the grille frame. This realization triggers a wave of panic within Cameron, as he becomes acutely aware that the aliens can track him if they come into contact with his blood. Unaware of this fact, David endeavors to reassure Cameron, asserting that such a scenario is illogical and unlikely to occur. Unfortunately, the IO operative detects their presence and initiates an attack using his superpowers, conjuring a ball of energy to strike at them. After a tense moment, they successfully evade their pursuers and find a new place to spend the night. However, David's curiosity gets the better of him, and he insists on knowing the truth about what transpired. As they continue their journey together, David expresses his need for a clear understanding of the situation. After some hesitation, Cameron finally discloses to David that he too is an alien. He reveals that his species is engaged in a war with another group of aliens. Cameron and his mother, Ellen, have been in hiding on Earth for the past 7 years. Cameron claims that by focusing his concentration, he can interfere with the alien signals, effectively evading detection. This ability explains why the aliens have been unable to locate him so far, even though they are determined to scour the entire planet in search of him. Suddenly, the IO operative reappears, relentlessly searching for them. One of the aliens picks up Cameron's scent and draws dangerously close to discovering their whereabouts, even retrieving a sword from his pocket. However, Cameron skillfully cloaks both himself and David, providing a vital opportunity to escape before the alien can capture them. After a long and arduous chase, they eventually reach a bridge. David is astonished to realize that everything Cameron had shared with him earlier is indeed true. He comprehends that he is the sole individual who possesses knowledge of the truth and the unfolding events. At that moment, the presence of 3 hidden spaceships becomes apparent. Filled with a mixture of surprise and acceptance, David warmly welcomes his alien friend, Cameron, by shaking hands. As they continue their journey on foot, Cameron eventually discloses to David the dire consequences that would befall the planet if the aliens failed to locate him. They would resort to destroying the entire world in their quest to eliminate him. Cameron provides a detailed account of the situation, weighing the option of surrendering himself to save the world. However, David resolutely rejects this notion, firmly standing against it. The alien horde is led by a figure named Garabon, who faces pressure from his superior, Devanara, to locate Cameron. However, Garabon finds himself captivated by earthly objects, such as coffee and a Maserati. One of the women accompanying Ellen expresses her exhaustion from the arduous journey. Seeking a moment of respite, Ellen sits down with her friend, but their tranquility is abruptly interrupted when an alien identifies Ellen's presence, subsequently reporting it to the alien mothership. Ellen is subjected to a brutal attack, which inadvertently exposes her identity through her blood. In a desperate bid to escape, Ellen manages to eliminate the attacking alien using a concealed weapon. Inside the spaceship, a woman provides a briefing on how the aliens blend their implants with human identities, creating the IOs, infiltration operatives. Believing that Ellen will never divulge Cameron's whereabouts, Garabon decides to venture to Earth, employing a deceptive strategy to manipulate Ellen into leading him to Cameron. In a brief flashback, we witness David and his girlfriend Sarah enjoying themselves as he films her. He compliments her beauty, and they share an intimate moment. Yearning for her presence, David shouts out passionately amidst the burning grass. The scene transitions, and Cameron joins in the shouting, fixated on a plane in the distance. David warns him against drawing the attention of the IOs, infiltration operatives, but suddenly, the bombardment begins. Urging Cameron to flee, they dash the plane. Amidst the chaos, numerous people are running desperately to escape, with the IOs relentlessly pursuing them. In a critical moment, Cameron spots a girl who is also trying to flee, but is on the verge of being captured. He comes to her rescue just in time. After a relentless pursuit, the IOs lose track of Cameron and the girl, retreating in defeat. Back at their haven, the girl starts questioning Cameron about how he managed to keep them all hidden. However, David interjects, insisting that Cameron should tell her everything. At that moment, David's thoughts drift back to his flashback, recalling his fight to protect Sarah and their daring jump into the river. Meanwhile, Garabon assembles a group of survivors, led by a human controller named Richard. Richard successfully tracks Ellen and builds trust with her, arranging a meeting at the forest's edge. Ellen signals him to be discreet. She merges her group with Richard's, which includes Garabon. Meanwhile, David walks alongside Cameron and the girl, who believes they will give up and leave. However, Cameron remains determined. On the other side, it becomes evident that Garabon's rival team is monitoring their movements. Ellen reluctantly admits to having a rendezvous point with Cameron in case of separation, but she doesn't fully trust Garabon to disclose the location. During the night, David and Cameron gaze outside, observing a storm. Previously, David enjoyed storms, but now the situation has changed, and Cameron expresses a reluctance to leave. One of Garabon's alien adversaries seizes the opportunity of Garabon's presence on Earth and coerces a few human controllers into attacking him. Garabon effortlessly defeats them, but suspects Devanara's involvement in the attack. He reports to the main spaceship, calling for all IOs. After a conversation with Devanara, Garabon emphasizes the importance of protecting his son. Following the attack, Ellen begins to trust Garabon more, which leads him to the rendezvous point. The IOs intensify their pursuit of Cameron and his friends. The search becomes tense and brutal. David repeatedly shields Cameron, and just as they are about to be captured during a conversation, Cameron's superpower allows them to go unnoticed by the IOs. Finally, they successfully manage to escape. However, in the current situation, Garabon becomes agitated when he fails to locate Cameron. He decides to reveal his true identity to Ellen. Devanera commands Garabon to return to his ship and wait for further instructions to attack Earth. Garabon takes Ellen captive and accompanies her. Meanwhile, Cameron and David reach the designated meeting place, only to find a large spaceship hovering in the sky. Another spaceship takes off, leading Cameron to suspect that they may have found his mother. As the alien ships become visible, Cameron realizes they are preparing to launch an attack on Earth. In a desperate attempt to save the planet, Cameron decides to use his ship, which he arrived in, and surrender himself to Devanara. They board the spaceship, leaving David astonished and experiencing his first flight. Unbeknownst to Cameron, one of the human controllers who had been tracking him for a long time had also managed to board the spaceship. The human controller creates an explosive ball within Cameron's ship, initiating a struggle between David and the controller. The controller overwhelms David, but Cameron absorbs the explosion's energy just in time, allowing David to eliminate the human controller. However, due to this distraction, Cameron fails to reach the alien ship. Their spaceship is now on the brink of crashing, but after numerous attempts, David skillfully manages to land the spaceship safely. Meanwhile, on the alien spaceship, chaos ensues precisely as Cameron absorbs the explosive energy. The alien overlords controlling the humans find themselves in distress. Ellen realizes that Cameron possesses the ability to absorb pure energy, making him a rare species capable of saving Garabon's world. She urges Garabon to find a way to disrupt the cannon fire targeting Earth. Meanwhile, David feels unwell after coming into contact with the blue light. Cameron reveals that the blue light resides within him and is causing harm. Cameron feels guilty, believing that it is all his fault. However, David reassures him that it is not his responsibility and requests that Cameron save Sarah before his last breath. Overcoming his grief over losing his best friend, Cameron gathers strength to confront their adversaries. Garabon decides to return to Earth with Ellen, hoping that their presence will halt Devanera's attack. Before Garabon can take action, Cameron employs his pure energy to strike the alien ship, causing the ship's core to malfunction, rendering it unable to continue the assault on Earth. Startled, David approaches Cameron and touches him from behind. Cameron is surprised and asks how this happened. David explains that when he lifted the spaceship, he felt the blue light lifting him as well, and now he's fine. David urges Cameron to go and find the girl they were searching for, and Cameron sets off. The alien ship lands on Earth, and Cameron successfully locates the girl. They embrace and share a loving kiss. Garabon tracks down Cameron, and Ellen convinces him to accompany Garabon for the sake of peace between their species. Cameron's energy powers the ship, allowing it to journey back to its home galaxy. They bid farewell to Cameron, wishing for his safe return. David also reunites with Sarah, and they share a passionate kiss. This concludes our story. What do you think about these reviews? Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed the recap, and subscribe to my channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one!